Welcome one and all back to Bullshit Creepypasta Storytime, where I tell you whimsical tales of gumdrops and rainbows that are filled with blood and occasionally an insane little man named Tom. But others are all like, oh no way bro, it's real. I heard the song and I got a headache, and then Sonic flew out of the TV and oh man, and a bunch of kids in Japan killed themselves. To which I say, oh, they did? And Sonic, wow. And to top it off, this story is actually really good and does a good job of making it seem believable, as it doesn't make the mistakes some of the shitty creepypasta stories make, which is overemphasizing stuff like, oh, there's blood everywhere and I'm so scared, and then Sonic jumped out of the TV and he was a plushie and I was like, what? And all that generic bullshit that just pulls out any sense of realism from the story. Sonic jumping out of a TV and he's a fucking fuck that shit. Lost Silver's concept is reasonable and realistic to some degree, and nothing really stupid happened in the story, like a doll flying out of a television or your computer screen. What the hell school did you go to? In any case, someone's a little arrogant, Mr. King. Do you know Tom? Yes, intriguing how beings that are weak have a tendency to die. Why, with these deductive skills, you must know Tom. At the very least, your writing ability is at about the same level. 3rd grade. So that was about Sonic.EXE and Tom. I referenced Tom a couple times during this. I'm not really sure why. What could these things be, you wonder? Blood? Gore? Hyper-realistic blood? Tom? Or all of the above? The sky's the limit. Oh, wait a tick. Kyle? The oddly specific yet stupid behavior of the author with his stopwatch and blood? My god. Our hero has returned. Tom's back. I was wondering why this was such a shitty story. It all makes sense. Someone please kill me now. Tom was so shocked that he screeched and he knocked his Sunny D beverage all over the Nintendo 64. Tom went back to his house and wondered, who was that who knocked on his door the other morning? It couldn't have been Kyle, because as we all know, Kyle hates Tom. That's probably why he went camping. When he started the game, it took him straight to the scene where you destroy Andros and Fox's dead father was leading you out, which would spoil the ending, Tom. You ruined everything. Then the screen faded to black for another 34 seconds. At this point, if anyone has had any doubts as to whether or not this man is Tom, you should be pretty cleared up by now. As he started to proceed out of the room, he saw Fox's dad, James McCloud, just standing there, not even in an R-Wing. How dare James McCloud have the audacity to stand while not in an R-Wing, while in the presence of Tom, no less. Know your place! It's time for my final thoughts, because why the fuck not? Now I want to start by saying I hate you, Tom. That's just one of my thoughts. I'm just throwing it out there. Unfortunately, Tom isn't going to show up in today's story. I'm sorry to report this information, but we're just going to have to suck it up and get through this story by keeping him in spirit. Remember the terrible spelling that he gave us? I do. First problem is, there is no story. Where's the plot? Where's the evil, spooky ghost that's supposed to fly out of your PS2 and kill you, or possess you, or turn you into Tom? For Christ's sakes, go to a doctor! Twitchy? Yeah, that's a good name. I like that, Twitchy. Tom's second cousin removed. An evil-looking face popped up on the screen for half a second. Whoa, wait a minute, seconds. Half a second. Specific. Tom, did you come back for the Halloween special, even though I hate that you're a thing? That's great. Everyone get your stopwatches. He looked at the games and noticed that he must have stayed only to get those games away from him, and when his friend bought them, he automatically left town. And if you had to interact with someone who knows the author, who is more likely than not Tom, wouldn't you want to leave town too? I think so. If nothing else, we know this man isn't Tom, because as horrible as Tom is, At least he wasn't a fucking hipster. He wrote the story at a Starbucks. But blood would spray out of where they wear hit. Where? Note to self, author maybe Tom. Get a straitjacket. Great creepypasta, bro. You're, if nothing else, the most terrifying person I've ever seen or read about. You creepy motherfucker. At least Tom had dignity and morals, but you and your sucker buses. Welcome back to Bullshit Creepypasta Storytime, where today I'm walking down a dark road. The road of Tom, author of such things as Sonic.EXE, a story that inspired a generation to not only move that story over to the Trollpasta wiki, but also create fan sequels. It arrived the next morning. Oddly, it was Sunday. More dots. You know, for not being Tom, you emulated his style quite well. Kudos. She crouched down before she completely disappeared in the black. Splat. Great use of the character, not Tom. We now take you to George and Ruth Ann. The hell kind of name is that? The parents of a boy named Tom, though. The disappointed parents. But Tom has been missing for 2 years, since the day this chain started. We know our son was a huge fan of Sonic. He'd grown up with the cartoon after all, thanks to me working at 4Kids when he was younger. Well, this explains why he's a bad person. Bet you really liked the opening to One Piece too, didn't you? Some kid named Tom, probably not important, hanged himself weeks before he gained a package from his deceased friend Kyle, who was Yuriofwind's best friend and secretly hated Tom. Not surprisingly, they both played the damn game. Kyle played it first and passed it on to Tom before X got him. Kyle tried to put up a good fight against X, or so Derek is imagining, but he clearly was no match for the Fiend, whatever he looks like. So Kyle tried to warn Tom not to play the game, but Tom did it anyways because he's stupid. X used this as an advantage to mess with poor Tom's head, making him believe that his curiosity and wanting to help others was what caused his best friend's suffering. Suffering that he would later go to publicize in a story on the internet because he's such a good friend. Tom tried to commit suicide by hanging in order to save himself from X, but apparently it failed. That rope didn't want anything to do with Tom. This is what he wrote. Tom, I fucking hate you. Also, destroy the game as soon as you get it. If you don't, you could be killed by a Sonic the Hedgehog plushie. Please, destroy it, smash it, burn it, piss on it. For all I care, do something! This topic that I've been avoiding like the plague. Just because I've always kind of thought it was a little stupid, and that's Tails doll. I mean, who thinks dolls are scary? Answer, whoever wrote Sonic.EXE, obviously. But I hold Tails doll to a higher regard. Mostly because it has nothing to do with individuals named Tom, but nonetheless, a higher regard. I looked around the store at the plentiful game posters and walls lined with board games and models of popular TV show action heroes like Tom and Sonic.EXE. Written by unknown. We'll assume it was Tom. I like to assume all these were written by Tom. But until next time, this has been Bullshit Creepypasta Storytime. Thanks for watching, everyone. Except for you, Tom. You didn't earn it. If you earn it, then you can get my thanks. But until then, no. Thank you, Ryan Cole. Thank you, Jacob Epler. Thank you, Tom Stopwatch. Oh, God. That's pretty good.